Hi sir, welcome to Book Talkies.
Mr. Venkat Chengavalli was CEO of EMRI, and it was under his leadership that 108 services reached throughout India in a short period of time. Let us know the in-depth secrets of the main strategist behind this service, Mr. Venkat Chengavalli.
I was born in 1953. I went to IIM Ahmedabad for doing MBA for 2 years. Now regarding my likes and dislikes, Gongura Pasadi, Dodakaya, Vankaya, Kakarkaya, all that. I like good movies, olden time, Nageshwar Rao, Yamuna, Savitri. I like scientists like Vikram Sarabhai, Satish Dhawan and Dr. Kalam. My career has gone for the last 44 years.
Having these many positions you have held throughout your career, so what was your experience of that time?
My father advised me, when you die, what people write in your obituary is what you have done to others, not to yourself and your family. Suppose I show you 500 rupee note and ask you, do you want it? You will say yes. Suppose I crumple it and stamp it with my feet, your dirty feet, and again I'll open it and ask you again, do you want it? You will say yes.
How has it been teaching to the students of IIM Ahmedabad, and also how has it been teaching about social marketing at ISP? Also, sir, when it comes to teaching, sir, how has it been teaching to the students of IIM Ahmedabad, and you also studied there, right? So already once you've studied over there, and you're teaching the students, the next group of the next set of students over there in the same college where you have studied, and also how has it been teaching about social marketing at ISP?
These are the great institutions. It so happened I studied in IMA, but it is 4 decades back. So the students are different, the subject is different, the infrastructure is different. So I must understand them. It's like same Ramayana. My father told me once, as a Telugu teacher, when I asked him, Nana, same Ramayana you have been teaching. Enduku prepare avatam? That's what I asked him. Adikadra, this time students are different. So I have to prepare to suit them. Same way, the IMS students of 2010 and 20 are different from 1977 what I studied. So I prepared and I addressed the current needs, with the adapting to the current situation. And then the same case with the ISB. But I'm very proud that I was invited by these institutions to teach them and share my best practices based on the concepts what I learned in this institute, what I practiced on for the last so many decades. Thank you.
So, sir, what was that particular experience or that particular moment that you cherished the most in EMRI?
It was 9th November 2005 when I got a call from Dr. Kalam, President of India, calling me and asking me, I heard you are doing something very good. You launched already 70 ambulances. I want to know what is that work. Can you please come to Rashtrapati Bhavan and tell me? So I prepared and went and presented to him on 16th November 2005. I thought there will be a big, presentation room and I will do, but in his chamber, he was sitting like this in a corner and then asking me questions, no presentation. Tell me how many lives you saved. That is slide number 32. I removed the printout. Tell me what process you followed. Slide number 22. Tell me what technology you used. Like that, he kept on asking questions. I kept on answering. And the 20 minutes appointment went up to 50 minutes. And he was so impressed with the work done. He said, when I retire on 24th July 2007 as President of India, I want to work with you. And he worked. He came on 24th July and he joined as Chairman Emeritus on 16th August 2007. And we were together for, till his death. That is a fantastic moment for me. And then the next moment is when he came to my house for a dinner. And when he came for dinner, he removed his shoe. When I removed my shoe at the entrance of the house, he removed the shoe. And I asked him to sit at the head table. He said, no, I'll sit in the center, next to in between your sons, so that I can learn from them. And he said, this is Telugu house, so I'll eat first gongura. Then only, sambar is not first, later. All these are the, greatest learnings when I was in EMRI and what I cherished.
Even we can draw the lines between you and Kalam sir.
Thank you so much.
The way you both have come from like a rural background to such a higher positions, such a dignified positions, right, today, all because of your hard work.
Thank you.
Sir, is there any difference, or what is the difference between Venkat sir, who is at home with his family, and outside as a professional friend or out of his house?
Core remains same. Core in terms of the simplicity, the honesty, the respecting people, relationships. This all will remain same. But you are applying knowledge there to produce certain results. You are applying skills to produce some results. But here, you are preparing your people to produce something what you like for the sustainability of the house, so that your children become proud citizens and they become successful on a sustainable basis. Whereas in the organization becomes successful on a sustainable basis long term. But as a person, Venkat goes with his values, with his knowledge, with his skills at home and there. But what he applies at home, what he applies there, what results he produces here, there it will be different.
Okay, sir. So what is most important, like a successful planning or a skillful implementation in a project? And what should the strengths of a person be while handling any project directly concerning with the public at large, right? So like this project itself, the 100 project itself, handling the public at a larger crowd, right? So how should a person have his strengths, or how should his strengths be?
Great, good question. See, it's like you're asking, is brain important or limbs are important, hands? So head and hands, you are saying which is important. You require first head, planning is from head. I'll take an example of a project where I was advisor to Government of Uttar Pradesh, Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav, I was advisor. I conceptualized a project called UP 100 to save lives in police emergencies. That project is to conceptualize how to respond to police emergencies 24/7, using leadership, using technology, using innovation, using processes, research, training, all this to respond to a police emergency in 15 minutes in urban area, 20 minutes in rural area is what the vision was. And that planning required what kind of building, first of all? 2 lakh square feet building, 200 people to sit as call takers, 200 as dispatchers. Then the all other administrators, 2 lakh square feet. How should I build which has to be distinctly different from not only within the country? There is no other police emergency system of that scale in India. Even outside, I went to New York, I went to Austin, I went to California to see those places. And this is the best design I could think of, is the building itself. That is the planning stage. I wanted to choose technology. What kind of technology I'm looking for? What kind of contact center solution? What kind of dispatch solution? What kind of mobile device terminal should be there in the vehicle, so that the vehicle guy can talk to the call center through that device. It looks like, your iPad. So how does he connect to that? And then processors. These processors, 550 of them were documented in Hindi, where the people who are running the police vehicle, constable, head constable, can understand. And then of course people. What kind of people are needed in the contact center? the communication officers, dispatchers, what should be their qualifications, how to select them, how to train them.
It
And
would
then
have been
PPP
like, it might
framework.
have been a very difficult task on managing all the people. Like, you have to look at on how do they contact each other immediately, and especially it is related to the public
Correct.
or rather public sector, where you have to an emergency, right? So it is when it comes to saving the lives of people, you might be a lot of nervous, right?
And that too, you are talking to 22 crore people of UP, largest state. So the sense of, I'm glad you asked a very good question. The brain is very important to conceptualize what infrastructure, what technology, what process, what people, what training, what kind of PPP framework. Whereas implementation is selecting a vendor who builds that place, selecting a vendor who runs that center, selecting a vendor who provides those vehicles, selecting them and then reviewing the performance every month, every week rather, in the beginning. This is implementation part. So you can always, planning is, if I want to come to Vijayawada from Hyderabad, I must plan whether I should come by flight, come by road, come by bus. That is planning part. What time I should start. Implementation part is going to, if I choose an airport, then how many hours before I should go, what I should do after getting into the aircraft, when I land there, what I should do. That is all implementation. So it's like you, but implementation, hence what I talk to you, it requires heart. If there is heart in implementation, you feel very light while doing the work. My heart is there in this, and I thought about what I should speak to you. Now I'm implementing. If I not thought about it, implement is difficult. But you can't implement without thinking. Or if you think and cannot implement, that is also not possible. So you need a brain and tell the hands what to do. Hands get monotonous if there is no heart in it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So, sir, what prompted you to initiate a YouTube channel? Do you think it has a larger reach out for your thoughts?
Thank you, Harshika. It's a good question, because what happened during this corona, in last March 8th was the last day I traveled. March, that was the last, I never traveled the last 10.5 months. So I thought I must do something. So what is that something? Instead of knowledge residing in my brain, in my office here, let me share with people. That's what Dr. Kalam told me. Share with people. And when I share it, it becomes my legacy. After 20 years, after 30 years, when Harshika is at 50, she can see the video again and again. And I am living there at that time. I want to live after my death. I thought, how do I live? When I share this, my thoughts, my knowledge, I thought I'll share. But instead of boring people for hours and hours, I thought if I make a capsule of 3 to 4 minutes on each subject, on what is the concept, what is my experience, what are the tips for youngsters. This is how I planned the 3 minutes talk. I've done already 27 videos are already uploaded. This for any citizen, anybody who wants to listen to this and learn from here, they subscribe to this. This YouTube channel is on my name, Venkat Chengavalli. If you subscribe it, you get a notification every Saturday I upload one video. I am planning to upload at least 100 videos by end of 21. 100 videos of 3 to 4 minutes each. 6 billion people can watch it without spending 1 rupee. They can learn.
Knowledge sharing.
Practically.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, you have written a book titled Manage, Live and Lead in 2014. So what was the main motive you wanted to share to the youth through this book? So
when I left EMRI on 10th Jan, the management of EMRI GVK asked me to go on 10th Jan 2011. Having worked there for 6 years, I felt bad. But Dr. Kalam rang me up and said, what you did in the last 6 years is only a little compared to what you have to do more in future. You have to share your knowledge. You have to document your experience through a book. You have to start mentoring people. That is what I am mandating you from tomorrow onwards. So that's how I wrote a book. That book is called Manage, Live and Lead. People know how to manage their people or their customers, their money, but they don't know how to live. Living is very important with values, with attitude, self-confidence, self-management skills, and interpersonal skills. Then only you get qualified to lead. A leader must have had a good life. Then only he can lead. On this basis, I wrote on 12 topics of managing, 14 topics on life skills, 22 topics on leadership, 48 topics, each topic 3 to 4 pages. What is the concept? What is my experience? What are the tips for others? A story or an anecdote. 28 stories I told in that book so that people can understand. And it was launched on 8th September 2014. First copy of the book, draft copy, I gave it to my guru, Sringeri Jagadguru Shankaracharya. And the first printed copy, I gave it to Dr. Kalam at his house. And then the first launch was by Mr. Javadekar, that time, cabinet minister in Delhi. And then 32 places we launched in various cities and various countries.
That was a very good initiative of yours, sir, to document all your work. I think that is something of like it is equal to knowledge sharing, where even future generations can read it and get that knowledge, or rather can learn something, right, from your experiences.
Yes.
Sir, also I've come across a tweet of yours in which you were sharing that you have been appointed as the advisor to the police department of Telangana, in addition to your other positions of being an advisor to the government of Haryana, senior advisor Tata Trust, and mentor at Butterfly Edu Fields. Such a wonderful work in these many positions at the same time indeed is a great job. So, sir, are you still holding all these positions?
No, I started first in 2011, 12, 13, 14. I was on the board of State Bank of Hyderabad. I was also advisor for UP, and I was also in AP as managing director of a welfare corporation. So what I do is I go 2 days to UP, I go 2 days to AP in a week, then I go 1 day to this place, Tata Trust. Like that, in a week I allocate. Then after 2 years, one more new assignment comes, one goes. So when the AP and UP went out after 2 years, then Haryana came in, Meghalaya came in. After the 2 years when they're over, now I'm handling AP and Telangana. I'm advisor for health in AP and Telangana for police. I continue to teach, I continue to mentor, I continue to be a consultant advisor to private corporations. Basically, how much time you're allocating. So I still get around, I spend around 35% on my assignments. I spend around 30% on teaching and mentoring. And I also spend time around 25-30% on holidaying and spending time with the family.
So finally, sir, to sum up the whole conversation, how was the lockdown and working from home?
Excellent question. For me, in my life of 67 years, and particularly working life of last 44 years, on an average, I've been taking last 10 years, 180 flights a year. That means 15 flights every month I was taking.
Oh,
I was at home maybe 2 days a week.
Most of traveling person, where your job included a lot of travel.
Yes.
So suddenly shifting to home, completely staying at home in lockdown.
Yes, that was a great adaptation required from me. First of all, I assumed, I thought I must plan my schedules. So I redid everything. So get up at 6:15, do yoga. What I was not able to do every day when I was traveling, I will do yoga for 45 minutes. After that, I'll go for a walk 5 kilometers for 1 hour. Come back, do puja, what I was not able to do that long. After puja, come to my office 10:30 to 1:30 in the morning, 3 hours. After completing my office mails and other mails and all the social media mails, all that I will do in 1 hour. After that, I start reading. First 2 months I read maths and science of 10th class, 9th class. Maths, physics, chemistry books of 9th and 10th I read. Then I read next 2 months mathematics for competitive exams. I was solving problems on distance and time and motion and algebra, all that I was. Then I completed handbook of chemical engineering. Now I am doing on emergency medicine. After my lunch, 2:30, I go to my bedroom with my wife and see I have been seeing a Telugu movie or a Hindi movie last 10.5 months. Every day one movie, 2:30 to 5 or 5:30. All Nageswara Rao movies, some 150, 200. Then I read one book on leadership or management. I read a book, I'm reading now on outliers. I read a book on strategic thinking. I read like this leadership books I take and read 1 hour on leadership. Next 1 hour, 8 to 9, I read a religious book. Now this is what I'm reading now. 8 to 9 every day.
Mahabharata.
This is Mahabharata. All the volumes, 18 chapters are there with me. I read that. So that's how my 9:30 dinner is over. Go for a small stroll, go up and spend time leisurely with wife and talk to children and sleep at 11 o'clock. And I never felt boring. I never felt I am re-energized. I lost a little bit of weight. I improved my health. My diabetes under control. Hypertension under control. Lost weight. I'm looking nice, isn't it? Am I not looking
Yes, sir.
smart?
You are looking so healthy. In fact,
Absolutely.
sir, by listening to all the routine of yours, it was like the time you spent or the time you distributed to learn new stuff and to spend quality time with family, I think were equal. So you had a knowledgeable and an entertaining one.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes, sir. So you are you revisited again those 9th and 10th class books, maths and physics books. So you are an epitome of learning, I must say, because you are a live example of how learning can be. Learning is a continuous process.
Leader, according to me, is the one who learns continuously. L for learning, E for empathizing, A for adapting, D for doing, E for energizing, and R for responsible. A leader who learns, who empathizes, who adapts, who does things, who energizes people, who is responsible. Now to close it, I want to tell what kind of strengths people have to cultivate. To close my interview, I want to tell you what kind of strengths one should cultivate to be a successful person. Number 2 is values. You must stick to your values. You must build your values, what you picked up from your parents, from your siblings, from your bosses, teachers, colleagues. You must build on them. Integrity is one. Integrity includes honesty, humility, courage, and congruence. These 4 together, if you have, it's called integrity. Then what is important is hard work. Then, of course, positive attitude or simplicity. These are all the values. Some of them I'm giving examples. Second is communication. You must practice how to speak, how to write, how to listen, how to make a good presentation. You must practice in a simple way, in a repetitive way. What I picked up in my life is exactly that too. Next strength which you have to practice always is make decisions in time. You must make timely decisions, ethical decisions, not popular decisions, right decisions, and then make it popular, not the reverse. Make popular decisions and telling people that they are right is not correct. Make right decisions, timely decisions, ethical decisions, and then tell people why you made it and make it popular.
Yes, sir.
Last but not least is be inclusive, participative. You can only work with people, and you have to, your last strength you must understand is, there is a husband and wife having a coffee every day morning in their balcony, apartment, seeing clothes of the other apartment clothes. On the opposite side of the balcony, there is a lady whose clothes are hung. Wife tells husband every day, sir, those clothes are dirty. She doesn't know how to wash. Husband says, why are you telling me? Go and tell her. No, I will only tell you. Wife keeps telling husband the clothes are dirty of opposite lady. 10 days she kept troubles him. 11th day, suddenly, she says, my dear, her clothes are damn good today. They are bright, clean and neat. What have you done? Something you must have gone and told her. Our secrets. I didn't do anything except I got up half an hour before you and cleaned the window glass through which you are seeing those clothes. The dirt is on our window glass, not on the clothes. So my friends, clean your dirt on the glasses, or change the angle of the glasses, change the lens to see things from a right perspective. Thank you so much.
That's a very good example with the stories. Like you are giving a connection to the story you are telling and the subject you want to explain, which is quite intriguing. And then like I want to have these conversations like continuously. But to sum it up for now, thank you so much for being here and imparting a lot of knowledge and sharing a lot of knowledge, sharing a lot of your experiences. It is my honor, it's my privilege to have you here today.
Thank you, Harshika. My best wishes to you. Thank you for the initiative. Keep it up.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, sir. So that was a fruitful and an informative session with Venkat Chengavalli. So I hope you all had such an amazing time with him and a knowledgeable time as well. So for more creative content, keep watching Book Talkies and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Signing off, Harshika ji. Happy Book Era.